Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk about probably the biggest mistake that I see people make with their triathlon training. I know it's maybe a little bit clickbaity, it won't do this very often, but I do think it is the biggest thing people could do to improve their triathlon performance. So I'm using Ironman as an example here, simply because that is the triathlon discipline that requires the most time and where athletes are most likely to fall into this pitfall. Can be applied to any distance or any endurance sport really for that matter. So this is what most people's season will look like. So down here, I have the start of the season. Now this is wherever an athlete is starting. It could be their 20th season, it could be their first season, doesn't matter. We're just taking it from the starting point. And over here is race day. So most people, they'll sign up to an Ironman, okay? And their instinct will be to start training, go, I'm gonna be an Ironman. You're gonna see all these motivational memes on social media, pushing, no excuses, getting up silly early every day, smashing out, finding the time, all of that kind of standard stuff. And you will see their fitness increase like this. And they'll manage that for kind of 4 to 6 weeks normally. Then one of two things will normally happen. Either injury, where they'll pick up normally a running injury, or just general burnout from not getting enough rest, going too hard too soon. As a result, their fitness starts to drop off. They're still doing some training, hopefully, they're not completely lacking it. So there's drop down, plateaus, maintain it here, hopefully get the injury sorted out. Build it up again, similar story to before, we can keep that going, and then it drops off again. And it drops down further, because by this point, they're really starting to get quite demotivated. This is often when people will sort of come to me as a coach with their training because they've tried doing this unstructured approach and it hasn't really worked. But we're already starting to run out of time a little bit here. So they then pick it up a little bit again, gets towards race day, something else comes along, they start to panic, and then we see an increase in training ahead of race day, and this is where they get, okay? So it's not terrible by any means. You know, they have built up some fitness. It's been undulating a little bit, but you know, they've done what they can when they're not injured or exhausted. So the second line I'm going to draw you here is how I train athletes, at least. It's I'm not saying it's the right way, it's just the way that I tend to train athletes. So we start here, sort of 7-8 months out. And we start off relatively easy, okay? And a lot of athletes say, this is really easy, I can do more. Yeah, I know you can do more, that's the idea, okay? Increase, increase, increase. Now, there will be recovery weeks in here because it would be a little bit jiggly if I started, you know, going up and down for every recovery week. But we increase, increase. And what started off feeling really easy, it's now starting to get a little bit harder. However, the increase in volume and intensity, this line just delineates general training stress as opposed to volume or hours or anything like that. It's not feeling nearly as hard. In fact, this will feel easier than that felt for that athlete. We keep increasing up and up and up, get to the last couple of months, and then we step on the gas. And yeah, this bit here is pretty hard, okay? That's really hard training as we get towards our race, because those last kind of 12 weeks are what really matters, is what defines your triathlon performance. So this athlete here, hopefully they'll still be able to finish. I mean, they may be finishing closer to sort of 15, 16, 17 hours. They'll hopefully get around though, because they put in some work. However, this athlete here started out easier, built their fitness up more continually, get up here, hopefully finishing closer to 10 or 11 hours, of course, depending on various other factors. So by taking a longer sustainable approach to the training, you hopefully will be able to get here less injured, less exhausted, as opposed to trying to be a hero in the first couple of months and then having your training quite likely interrupted. Now, there is, of course, a third type of athlete, lesser seen, but also you do see them as well. They make up probably closer to about 5 to 10% of Ironman competitors in my experience. We are talking about the procrastinator. So this is somebody who signs up about, you know, sort of 10, 11 months out. That's when most races go on sale. They've seen somebody else do it, they're feeling really inspired, and they sign up. And they think, you know what, that's a long way to go. I don't really need to do any training yet. Maybe they do a few bits, but they're pretty cocky. I mean, they ran cross country at school, you know. We get here, and then we start to build our fitness up here. And it tends to go quite quickly again. But then they realise actually that this is really quite hard, this Ironman lark actually. I'm feeling quite tired, plateau there, increase a bit again, getting closer, no, drop down more, struggling. This is when they'll normally leave a message on a race Facebook group saying, anybody else starting to panic a little bit about the event? Increase, gently increase, drop down a little bit there, something else comes up, start to feel intimidated, don't think they're going to do it. At this point, one of two things will happen. Either they'll fall off and they just won't manage the event, or they continue to increase it a little bit. There'll be a sort of a jump or so when they do their first, say, they might go out and say, right, just going to do 100 miles. So that helps. Then they need recovery from that because that's taken it out of them for the next couple of weeks because that 100-mile ride was really long. And then you go along again, you might do something similar for the run, do a really long run. Okay, either they're injured or they're exhausted, and they end up somewhere normally around here. So this is very much kind of bordering on DNF territory here, a place we really don't want to be. So, to conclude, we want to avoid being a hero and then struggling with our fitness throughout the rest of the programme. Equally, we want to avoid the other extreme, which is the procrastinator, which is leaving their training too late, having some undulations, exhaustion from big hero efforts, hero sessions during their training. Instead, we want to start maintaining our fitness in a really consistent, manageable manner, really kicking it up in the last couple of weeks. Sometimes I work with athletes and we get to this point here and they go, this is too easy, I can do this all day. Yeah, I know you can, that's the idea. However, this point here, that's what really makes your race. Anyway, hope this has been informative and interesting to you. So it's not a very high-tech solution, but it's what I have to hand at the moment. Good luck with your training and I hope this helps you out.